Hi everyone and welcome to Loch Ness Living. Today we're going to pay a visit to the Inverness Museum and Art Gallery and take a look behind the scenes at some of the knitting and spinning artefacts that they have there that tell us the tale of knitting and spinning in the Highlands over the past hundreds, possibly thousands of years. So join me and see.
Take this one.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the reusing of that there.
So it's been some sort of large medieval vessel, and then it's been reused. So it's basically a broken bit that's been reused as a spindle well. It's beautifully patterned and decorated already, but not intentionally. That's from the vessel before. You can see there's the lines from when the pot was made.
Mm-hmm.
It's already got the nice curve that's helpful for the spindle.
So how can you tell that that's a reused and somebody's not made that specially as a spindle whirl? What
Because
are the clues for you?
it's made of clay, which is a very versatile material, but if you were going to make a spindle well and you were going to make it out of clay, you would make it more regular to start with. Now, potentially, there's bits coming off here. It would be smoother on top, and what you've got is the lines where the pot has been made, so where the large vessel has been made. That you can see on all sorts of clay things, whether it's been a coiled pot or whether it's been brought up, you get those grooves in it. And I think if it had been made as a spindle well out of clay, you wouldn't have those big fat grooves. There'd be no need, and I think most people's inclination would be to make something smooth and potentially also to pattern it, because you can with clay very easily. I think that these divots are probably from it being dropped. It is after all called a drop spindle. We're not meant to drop it. But also the way that it's been shaped. It's fairly regular, but it's not perfectly regular at all, and it never has been.
Yeah.
And if you were going to manufacture it out of clay to start with, you could make it regular.
Yeah.
So yeah, reuse. Nice place.
That's make, do and mend from how old is that?
I'd say medieval. So
Medieval
several
make,
hundred
do and
years.
mend.
Yeah, we're going for broad medieval here. Yeah, we do have vessels on display in the cases that are still whole. So you get a lot of spindle wells out of one.
Yeah.
Thing. So take this one out.
Yeah.
So this is a little stone spindle well. I can already tell it's stone because it's heavy and it feels cold through the bag. The ceramic stuff doesn't feel cold and it warms up very quickly. So this is a shaped and polished, in fact, polished partly through use. And again, there's extra wood chips on it. So I reckon this one would have been used this way up, and I reckon this sort of divot here was the bit that would lend itself nicely to the thread.
Yep.
Isn't freshly spun stuff coming up and round to the spindle. So that hole there is where the spindle goes through. It's got quite a nice little ridge to it. And this is quite an old-fashioned museum thing, where we write on the actual object where it was found, which I really we don't tend to do that. No, we keep it indifferent. But yeah, it's a really pretty little thing. Should we just go for a lucky dip?
Yeah.
The thing about lucky dip spindles is that some are decorated and some aren't. And personally, I'd rather see the decorated ones.
I would love to see a decorated one.
So we're going for some 9/4s. I saw 9/4s somewhere, so we've got 9/4. So everything's listed.
Yeah.
Everything has a number. All the museum objects have a number. It's called an accession number. So when it becomes part of our collection, it's being accessioned. It gets a unique reference number that allows us to identify them, hopefully fairly rapidly, but not necessarily. This one's 44. Now, it's not decorated, but I am going to get it out just because after the last one it's made the same material, but it's quite different looking. It seems to have been found in Queenhead in Selkirk, so quite far from here, but also an area with a really strong textile industry. Selkirk, down towards the south. Totally curved.
Yeah, really
It
curved.
feels just as heavy as the
Yeah.
other one. Also, you wouldn't get an awful lot on top here. So it's very fine. So it's got
I
really
was just
fine
I was
stuff
just
in
about to
this.
say really fine as well,
Yeah.
because of the depth of that would allow you to get quite a lot of tension through, quite a lot of twist through. So you could go really fine with that. Yeah. It's not as it's a wee bit of weight. It's not as weighty as kind of you think it's going to be by looking at it.
So if I look up our database, in an ideal world, it would have the weights of them all as well.
Yeah, that would be
We're
useful.
probably not at that stage in terms of the spindle wheels that we have.
Because that's one thing that would also give you a clue as to the fineness of the wool that people are trying to spin.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reunite this little card from the box with this little bag.
Let's keep our museum tidy.
We have to. Otherwise things can become suddenly misplaced, and that
Yes.
is not the rule.
Well, these are
Museum.
such little things. You can see how they could
Where's
easily
Loch-
go astray.
Where's Loch Lashy?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know, but it's conjuring up images of people sitting by the loch with their spindle whirls for, two millennia ago.
We've been watching too much Outlander. Too many midgies to sit out by the loch.
And maybe it'd be very stereotypical one.
Although actually, if you're by the fire with a bit of smoke coming off the fire, the midgies don't like that.
Okay, I'm going to get this one out because it's really chunky. Again, it's stone. So it's showing us a different shape. And also,
wow.
it's shaped stone.
Yeah.
So you can see it has been deliberately shaped. So it's got a bit of a fancy groove there.
Yeah.
It doesn't need, functionally, I
No,
don't think. Nor here.
no.
So,
And does that feel? I just feel if that feels kind of rough. So that actually feels quite smooth. Because one of the things about a stone, especially a stone like that, is you'd wonder if it had kind of almost a grittiness to it that would catch on the wall, but that's very smooth.
It's got lots of mica in it, so it is quite a
So it's pretty.
stone. But the other thing is, it's a pretty stone.
Yeah.
It's sparkling. So I'm going to go with that's a pretty special one to somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not
Very-
crazy to think that people like the everyday things, that they used to be nice and to be pretty. I like my knitting, my needles and the things that I use. I like them to be pretty because I spend a lot of time using them.
I think, the decorating, they don't need to be decorated, and in a sense that one is, because they've picked a really special sparkly stone. And also I think, remember things like, low lighting,
Yeah.
wires, no electricity.
Yeah, drop it on the floor, you want to be able to get that back.
Yeah, the different lights, but also just as things are spinning and perhaps lights
Oh, that could be
reflecting off them.
pretty, yeah.
So it is a pretty thing.
When's that one from? Can you tell how old that is?
But it's stone, so
Stone.
there's people were using these in the Neolithic. So thousands of years old. But it could be something that a Viking was using. It could be
Yeah.
something that somebody was using 1,000 years ago,
Possible Viking bling.
or longer. Or longer.
Blinged up spindles are not a new thing.
No, not at all. And in fact, I was giving some consideration to drawing online with Sharpie.
I actually have done that on mine.
Yeah.
So that I just remember which way I'm twisting, because I'm still very new to what I'm doing, so I want to get consistent twist.
No. 3-7, 3-2, 3-9. I know, they're all going accurate. Right, 3-2 claims to be decorated, and I just saw it a second ago. It might be this one. Yes. So, this one is from Ledgerwood. I'm not sure where that is, but it's in between some from Huntleywood Metric, so it's maybe somewhere near northeast, but I actually really don't know.
Oh, that is pretty.
So, yeah, decorated in that it's been incised, and it's been incised with lines that as it spins, it's going to look
It's
like a little spiral.
spiraling, yeah.
So it's not actually a spiral, but the way that it's been done, it's not quite regular. And because you've got wear, and in fact, there is another little sort of divotty bit.
You can
To
see
me-
the little notch, probably through wear and tear.
To me that would sit that way, because then that would be... No, I think it would sit this way, because then it would have its flat surface for things to sit on as you're spinning. So you spindle through the middle, coming up here, winding round here, which means that this bit, that nice curved shape, that bit is still visible. And if it was that way up and you were spinning, that bit would disappear. So there'd be little point in having the decoration.
Yeah.
On the other hand, with a drop spindle, sometimes I think, who's it for? That mesmerising pattern. Maybe people put the babies to sleep by spinning over them.
There are, I mean, if you've ever knitted or spun in public, people do comment on how therapeutic it is to watch and quite hypnotising.
Yeah. Like watching people make pots.
Yeah.
I think I've seen little videos of that. Do you want to feel that one?
Yeah. That's quite weighty. That has more weight to it than some of the others. So you get a lovely tension and twist off that.
Let's try and find something big. So it needs to go back in exactly the same place as I got it from, which was that box, in position 2 from the back. So that large glazed one we already looked at. I wonder if there's anything similar. Let's go for a lucky dip. Going for a lucky dip pottery spindle whirl. And we'll see if this lucky dip pottery spindle whirl has anything similar to the one we saw before or different. This has come from an archaeological dig, and I can tell that from the different numbers on the bag. Okay.
So that's quite rough and ready compared to the ones that we've just been looking at.
Yeah. On the underside, very similar. So it's smooth.
Yeah,
You've got the
smooth.
smooth interior of the original vessel. The clay, it's not such, I would say not quite such good quality. It's got a lot of inclusions in it, little bits of gritty stuff. Yeah, it's quite a coarse clay. In fact, there's various air bubbles in it, and I suppose one of the things that did happen when people were making large pottery vessels, if you had air bubbles like this and then you're firing it, it explodes.
It would shatter.
So hey, lots of bits to try and make yourself other
Yeah.
things with, like spindle whirls. And again, sometimes it's dropping and sometimes it's shaping, but that to me is a very clear
That's a lovely notch there.
notch, isn't
yeah.
it? Very lovely notch. And the other thing that I really enjoy about these ceramic ones is that it is, rough. But you can see they're
I
going for
suppose
balance.
if you were a beginner, if you're teaching a child, you wouldn't give them your finest one to drop and play about with. You would give them the kind of rough and ready one with quite a big easy notch to get started.
And that's a clear break.
Yeah.
Either somebody has dropped it. It may have been attached to a spindle at the time. It may not have been attached to a spindle at the time. If it was attached to a spindle at the time and it was dropped and it was this way up, which is what we think it would be, then yeah, it would have gone dunk. So that's the edge that would have hit.
Yeah.
And it would have broken up that way, which it looks like it has. If it's broken that way, down the way, not quite sure what does that. So I'm going with that's been dropped in use. But also, it's not as round as the other one. Coarser clay is going to break more easily, so they just needed to shape it so it was quite balanced.
And you were saying earlier that the edges on these are one of the things that helps for you to kind of understand that these are spindles and not weights for loom weight for fishing weights or loom weights for weaving. That there's wear and tear on them that gives you a really good understanding of how they've been used.
Yeah, but also to do with the shape of them and the edges. So a loom weight is weighting a warp, and if it's got like sharp edges or something, it's going to it's going to wear through that and compromise the integrity of your larger textile, especially if it's a long thing, because you need to change where it's weighted. So, yeah, I think we're getting better at telling them apart. But when it's something made of stone from 2,000 years ago, I think it can be tricky, partly because we have to imagine, I guess, how they were used and to the extent to which they were used and how often, how continually through the day. So I think it was spinning.
So is it kind of helpful that people still actually spin using drop spindles that are very similar to the original? The design, manufacture of these things has not changed much in 1,000 years.
No. Yeah. Well, what works.
Yeah.
You can't get the same feel, the tactile feeling of spinning, and how quick it can be. It's really satisfying. But the fact that a tool that works is a tool that works, and even so knitting machines. Perhaps we thought that knitting was going to be industrialised along with everything else, but it wasn't. Knitting wasn't industrialised at the same rate as other things like making fabricated cotton and that sort of thing. Watching that scarf and draping the box like a guard. I think the fact that it's the same sensation, we're using the same materials, or we can choose to use the same materials, and it's producing something that we still use, that has better qualities in terms of longevity and for things like being quite waterproof. If it's actually wool, it's quite waterproof, rather than a sweatshirt, which probably isn't. So for me, it's really, really important that people keep spinning. I can spin, I can't knit, so fair enough. I can make lots of stuff, and then afterwards I have to give it to somebody else.
Just found a new teammate.
To enjoy.
Well, it's a great look behind the scenes. Shall we go through and have a look at some of these things in action?
Yeah. Let's go do a little bit of spin.
Get our spin on. Hello, welcome to Loch Ness Living. Today I am at the Inverness Museum and Art Gallery with Alison. Hello. What's your job here, Alison?
I'm the curator of the collection of engagement.
So, and Alison has been very kind this morning and given me her time and her expertise with a little bit of behind the scenes look at some of the artefacts that they have here that relate to knitting and spinning particularly. And now we're just going to have a little bit more of a chat about some of those and point you in the right direction of the highlights of the museum for the next time you're in Inverness. So a lot of the kind of things you showed me behind the scenes were spinning and drop spindle related. So we can see, I mean, I've got an empty spindle here, that the actual technique, they're exactly the same. You know, those little stone things we were looking at haven't changed at all, have they?
No.
How marvellous is that?
So something that does the job 2,000 years ago, it does the job now.
Yeah.
It does the same thing. But in many ways we're quite lucky because we can have regular, round, really balanced spindles. Before people were using all sorts of things, ceramics, broken ceramic, clay, stone, lead in the medieval period. So we've got some on display in the museum that are medieval spindles, and they are made of lead and rather nicely decorated. So they're on permanent stay. We also have, I think, a Viking one. Viking one. So it's made of steatite, which is soapstone, which is a very soft stone, so it's easily carved. It's used for decorative items, but also things that needed to be shaped a particular way. So this one's rather nice. It's been decorated beyond how it needs to be functional. So I like that one too. It's doing on display all the time.
And these are just, they're not, ceremonial objects, they're not processional, these are everyday objects that people would have used to live.
Yeah, well, it's an everyday activity.
Yeah.
So it, I think, I love a knitted jumper, but what goes in behind it is actually completely mind-boggling. So basically you're starting with, well, you're starting with a sheep or some sort of other fluffy furry animal. I live next door to sheep. They're in the field, they leave bits like this all over the wildlife fence around my garden, so I can gather that. But then it's really important that I loosen it and take all the nasty bugs out before I would even think about touching it with bare hands.
So there'd be some other kind of processing tools, the basic washing, picking out bits of gorse bush or whatever else was coming around at the time. There'd still be some of that processing that was going on. Maybe for the younger members of the family.
Yeah, the other sort of slightly unsavoury things, I mean, there's ticks and bugs and poo and that kind of stuff, that all needs to come out of the wool as part of the processing before people even think about spinning it. Once it's clean, there's the carding.
Yeah.
So carding is what turns something that's quite sheepy and quite tangled into something that has smooth fibres laid in the same direction, so that you can start to think about spinning it and spinning it easily. So the gist of it is long fibres, smooth in the same direction, winning, sheepy, trickier. So I'm a relative novice. I spend a lot of time showing other people how to spin.
I'm a total novice. I'm surprised it hasn't ended up on the floor yet. I'm just playing at it, but
each time the spindle disappears, I'm catching it between my knees. So when I'm spinning, it goes spin, 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 spin. And then, because I don't want it to unwrap itself by spinning the other way, catching it between my knees. And then I'm going to use some of this lovely green stuff with all its beautiful fibres laid in the same direction, because it'll make a nice, easy journey. And I just enjoy doing this. I find it very satisfying because it's so quick.
yeah.
And I love the fact that I'm doing something that's exactly the same as people have done for thousands of years. Like, this is tangible heritage connections. There's a feeling in my hands of the weight of the spindle, the actual the act of producing it.
And that's very genuinely, that's not speculation that we're kind of making up. We can tell from the tools, we can tell from, I suppose, some of the kind of any fibres that we have left behind, we can tell from oral heritage. You know, we're not guessing when we say this is technique, this is a practice that has definitely gone on. We've got a real connection to the ancient people who lived in the Highlands.
Yeah. And more widely in the Highlands as well, we can draw from things all over Europe, from artwork that shows people spinning and knitting, from picture. I think there's like Greek and Roman pots that show people with distaffs spinning. So yeah, I enjoy that. It's quite easy to get yourself into a tangle when you're not an expert. But I think half the point for me is that, you know, I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional spinner, but I really enjoy it. It's very relaxing.
And most people in their homes, and especially in the crofting life of the Highlands, they're not what you would recognise as professionals. Nobody was paying them for their work, not for a very long time, not until much later on during the Industrial Revolution, when people were able to transport goods. But early on, this was for home use, this was for making use of what was available on the farm. This isn't kind of a mass production technique at all. This is living off the land.
Yeah. From field to your jumper, there's a really nice big chunky joint.
Yeah.
Not that nice, but yeah. Practice and learning.
You can see as well, because it's something that you can pick up and put down, that it's quite handy. You could get on with cooking, you could rock a cradle, you could look after a couple of kids, you can have other things going on. You can sit in front of the TV, as I do nowadays, and spin away, and pick it up and put it down quite easily.
And then make sure you're moving around. So your spindle's different to mine.
Mine is the opposite way.
Mine's this way.
Mine's this way. You can use them either way. Mine, the other one that I have with me, is the upside down one. But I'm not, as a very, very beginner, I'm not using this one because it doesn't have the hook, and I need a little bit of help when it comes to notching and tension and please don't comment on my spinning. That's why I'm hiding it below the table, because it's just awful.
Right,
But it's a technique that needs practice. I'm only going to get better through practice, and it doesn't matter if my first lots are quite rubbish. Everybody starts somewhere. So what other knitted items or kind of textile items can we have a look at if we come and visit the gallery?
Well, we've got a couple of knitted bonnets on display, which are dated 18th century. We reckon so. Kind of blue-green colours. They were found in a peat bog, so well preserved. We don't have a lot of textile material, particularly not knitted materials, from that period. Like, these are everyday items of clothing. They don't survive, much like your favourite jumper. It does, it gets worn out. It becomes nothing. These have been preserved in the bog, and so they're on permanent display here as well. They're what, 300 years old, potentially? How's my maths? I'm not sure. My maths is dreadful. But yeah, the sort of thing that a Highland soldier might have worn a lot of.
Yeah.
The sort of thing that would keep your head warm while you're hiding in a bog. I don't know how it ended up in the bog, but it means that somebody was able to with their bonnet. One of them looks like a very fine bonnet, but as I don't know a lot about knitting, it's harder for me to say which would be better. One of them's like quite chunky and felted and navy, and one of them seems to be like finer, I guess. But cosy hats. And I imagine they were knitted as well.
Yeah, because it does take time to make things, handmade items, and there's a really long tradition of people making things to send off with loved ones, to travel and to go to war. So it's interesting that we can see that connection. That's something that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, like socks now, socks, jumpers, and hats, and mittens, and things to keep you cozy. We have not actual textile things, because textiles they're just so fragile. And the archaeological record really tricky. You really only get them if they've been submerged in water or frozen or in some sort of peat bog, and you get preservation that way, sometimes extraordinary preservation. But also a lot of the sort of knitted things in museums are really just fragments because it's fragile.
So what else gives you the clue of textile history then if you don't have the actual fabric?
The things, the accoutrements, so
accessories.
Yeah, brooches, dress pins. We have bronze dress pins. We've got big pannier brooches, and these are things. They've got a spiky bit, so they're not for fixing on your body because they're spiky. They're fixing your clothes. They're for holding your clothes or whatever was covering you on. Perhaps not clothes, but bits of fabric, whatever was functioning as clothing.
Yeah.
So those tell us as well that, textiles existed, there was production, there needed to be.
And production, although at a cottage level, but of fine items, because the buckles and the brooches are really decorative, they're beautiful pieces where people took a lot of time and a lot of care over these things. So I suppose you can infer then that the things that they were being attached to and put on were also fine and beautiful.
Yeah. A care and interest in people's personal appearance. You take a bone pin to put your shawl on. You just need a bone pin, or possibly even a jagged thorn. But actually, people were creating items and have done for millennia with the specific purpose of holding textiles together. So I love that. I love the way that we're able to look at one object and make connections between that and another.
And again, with the way that we're living and wearing things today, a scarf is a scarf, and probably hasn't really changed that much in design. Shawls are still triangular and circular in shape because that's the shape of the human body. So if the problem was solved in that way, why reinvent it?
So I was thinking, going to that exciting stage where I like unwind quite a lot of it and see what happens when it twists up. Because at the moment it's only got to twist one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine. I could just finish all that. But
I've got some handy U-rolls to film winding off.
I'm just going to do a bit. I'm going to do like this much. And just see what happens. And leave that bit.
I suppose what we could do then is show that wool needs to be plied to have its strength in it, because when this is some spinning that I did earlier, some very early spinning, and you can see it does unravel and it comes apart really quickly. So to get to the point where people would then be able to knit with it and to knit really functional and hard-wearing items, they would start to ply it together.
I don't know what I do with that. I'm quite pleased with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm quite pleased with it for learning and practicing.
It's beautiful. So I think we've got lots of interesting items for people to come and have a look at in the museum. And hopefully we've been dropping hints throughout the visit today that the museum could maybe gather some things together and really make it easier to find these kind of knitted and textile items for visitors coming, and just and really show how they were used as well because of the connection with the modern tools. Yeah, so
I think from my point of view as a curator, and my job is about supporting people to make connections between our collections and their life, their hobbies, their interests, to make things relevant and exciting. It's been really useful for me to have a look again at what we have on display, how we display it, and how we might be able to extend that. For example, like ceramic spindle wells, we can put them on display next to the vessels that they were originally a part of before the vessel broke and became 20 spindle wells. So that's really good fun, and also to be thinking about the brooches and pins as being indicators of an industry, of a need, and of something that people did and people still do. Just put their stuff on, fasten it, all warm and cozy all winter.
And if you've ever been to the Highlands, you'll understand why. Why we looked at the sheep and said, yeah, I want to be like that.
Yeah. I'm going to wear this one.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really, really fascinating. And I hope we get to come back and have another play in the future, because I think we are just touching the tip of the iceberg here. It's wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's certainly given me some really good ideas that I look forward to following up. And then perhaps you can knit.
That's what I feel like.
Can you knit with that? I can't knit.
Well, maybe felt something out of it.
Felt it.
We could do a little felt in something.
Very versatile.
Thank